13.
13?
Hey, everybody.
Hi, welcome back, Phucsters. We're back on episode 13, lucky
Yes.
13, with our lucky guest here, Varada. Is that
Yeah,
right? Is that the way?
Varada.
How do you pronounce your name perfectly? I want to pronounce it
Varada.
perfectly.
There you
Varada.
go.
Close. Yeah.
I'm trying. My name is hard too, so I'm trying to be respectful. But also, I think it's a really cool name, and you're a really cool person. And I want to introduce the audience to someone who's really an inspirational person in my mind. Someone who has been with Phuc Labs for the last... How long have we known each other?
I think it's about 7 months now. Yeah.
7 months. I think you started around May?
June, yeah.
June time frame?
June, so.
Okay, so let me give you kind of the catch. So again, welcome to What the Phuc. Co-host Roberto here.
How's it going?
And I have been talking about our adventures, and this is a reality show about startups, about life, about family, about spirituality, and we're actually deep into Phuc Labs. We've interviewed Midnight Zero, who helped design the first vision valve system. We've interviewed Aaron Kessler, who was my roommate in college and a good friend of mine who's helping on the business side. And again, I'm trying to build a team, founding team, essentially these Avengers, these superheroes, and we needed a potions master. So if you had to think science was Hogwarts, and I'm Dumbledore. I'm trying to build like the staff for Hogwarts. You're gonna be alchemist, potions
I'm like
mistress.
Severus
I'm
Snape.
sorry.
Yes, exactly.
If you want to be Snape, sure, you're Snape. Are you a bad guy? Is that what you're trying to say?
Snape wasn't a bad guy.
He was a good guy.
Right? Towards the
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
He was just misunderstood. You're saying he misunderstood.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you look like Snape for sure. You're the exact, and also your temperament is definitely not Snape. You're not sharp and abrasive. Let's say. I'm not sure how to say Snape was. How you characterize Snape? Was he friendly?
He wasn't friendly, but I guess he was always fighting for the good side.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why he gets killed.
Okay. Well, anyway, we needed someone to fight for the good side, and maybe you do have some dark arts that you know.
Do I
maybe-
know some
if you're trying to
dark
say
arts?
something
I
to
don't
me.
think so.
Well, yeah, all the stuff you do with chemistry is like
But we-
it's crazy. You just mix stuff and something else comes out. Like that. That's magic right there.
Yeah, so basically, it's like the way I actually want to I want to bring this up because it's very important. Look at the faces here; it's pretty diverse. Like we have Asian, Roberto's Latino, Varada's Indian, and we're gonna have a lot of different ethnicities at Phuc Labs, different races. But I want to say that women are the best workers. Period. I've worked with so many women. Women are just smarter than men. They're just more put together, and I'll just say that because I'm a guy. I can say that. But I think people want to hire the best people. Hire from where people are not looking. Hire from other countries. Hire from women. Hire from minorities. Hire from people who are amazing, but don't have the opportunity. Like I said, genius is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And when I saw your resume, when we posted this for a chemist, it was immediate that you just stood out. I wanted to let you know that you were the only person we interviewed.
I didn't
Did you
know
know that?
That's awesome.
And when we interviewed you, I had a good feeling. And then I had my roommate, Nick Paris, who's one of the smartest people I know. He's a chemist. He's at USF right now. He helped. His professor won the Nobel Prize because he found basically the cure to
Damn.
Alzheimer's. I saw a medal. He went to a medal ceremony with the Nobel Prize. He was holding it because he helped. He was in that lab helping discover prions were related to Alzheimer's, and he's obviously very successful. And he's like, Varada's the one. He talked to you. He's like, you should hire her.
Oh, that's nice.
And then Rick Fontana said the same thing. And those two people are super respected, and that's why we hired you on the spot. I just want to
There you
let
go.
you know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
No.
you never heard that, right? So I just want to. That's how awesome you are. So tell me about your background. Why you are so awesome?
I wouldn't call myself awesome, but I think my interest in science and math was always there since I was maybe like 10. And I think the reason why I was so attracted to working on something related to the environment was, interestingly, after I saw Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth when I was 14. And I was so fascinated by that documentary, and I felt the immediate need to, do something about it. And I felt that, it was a deeply concerning thing, global warming, climate change. So that's when I sort of made a decision that I want to get into the field of science, and especially environmental engineering science, and do something that would help in this area. And I was just exploring options, and then I read this book by Bill McKibben, who's also an environmentalist. It's called End of Nature. And in the first chapter, actually the first paragraph, he talks about scientists being the actual heroes, like superheroes. And I mean, that immediately stuck to me. And even when I was writing my SOPs for college, I always use that as my inspiration. I mean, Bill McKibben's End of Nature book, I always quote that. And so I started exploring things that I probably would be interested in. So chemical engineering, I felt that was like a good base, fundamental to build up in order to move towards environmental related issues. So I started out with my bachelor's in chemical engineering in India. And then during my second year of college, I wanted to pursue research, because I kind of knew that was that's the inclination I had. I knew that I had to go to grad school if I really wanted to do environmental related stuff. So I started building up a profile. I worked within my university at the nanoscience department. I was working on photocatalytic degradation of dyes in wastewater. And I also started doing some research with PhD students in the chemical engineering department for defluoridation of water, removing fluorine from water, things like that. And I started applying for internships abroad. And I got this position as a summer fellow in Israel, and also another offer in Ireland, University of Cork, Ireland. I chose to pursue the Israel internship because I get to learn desalination and how to do desalination using reverse osmosis from the best guys in Israel, and one of the best universities. And during that 3-month internship, I learned so much. I did experience a culture shock as well, and at the same time, I was amazed at how well-equipped lab looks like. And I was so excited to do all of the work there, and I was making great progress because I was so excited to be in the lab that I was almost there all the time. And I was doing all these experiments, and then I realized, I looked at my watch, it was like 12 a.m. and I'm like, I'm actually in the lab at midnight, and I didn't even realize the time passing by, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I probably should, do a PhD or something. I'm enjoying research so much.
That's amazing.
So,
Like when you actually find the thing that just like you're passionate about, time
Yeah.
just flies and it goes through, and that's
I
great.
didn't even realize the time go by. And that's when I made up my mind, I should go to grad school. I have to do a PhD. I enjoy research so much. So after the internship, I went back to finish my final year in undergrad and started applying to various universities in the US. And so that's how I ended up in Louisiana State University for a PhD. And my advisor was I was really lucky enough to have a very good advisor. He was so encouraging, and he gave me so many opportunities. And I think it's because he kept saying that he sees something in me, that I'm so hardworking, and like he was always full of praise for me. And he said that that's why he gave me all of those opportunities. He thinks that I work hard enough, and he thinks I was smart enough to be able to gain all of this. So during my PhD, the second year or the third year, I got the opportunity to do an internship in Argonne National Lab, and I worked there for about 7 months, and we developed this new material called resin wafers, which uses an ionomeric binder, and these materials are used in electrochemical desalination and separation, basically water related separations. And we were able to file a provisional patent on it. And besides that, like my advisor also gave me several opportunities to represent the university and our research group in conferences in China, in Beijing, as well as South Korea. So I got chances to travel to those countries and present our research, speak to so many scientists and professors in those countries, and bring in collaborations for our lab. And that was a really great, I feel, experience for me. And towards the end, my professor actually recommended me for this Excellence in Graduate Student Research Award at the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. And I kind of got selected for that, and that was a nice recognition from AICHE. And he also recommended me for the Outstanding Dissertation Award at our university, which I also won, which was yeah.
You're winning everything.
Sorry, what?
You were winning everything. That's awesome. And just like, and something that I really find like amazing about this whole thing is that how you just like you're just enjoying what you're doing, keeping your head down, doing the work that you like doing, and all these other people around you are the ones being like, you're amazing. And it's never been like you about yourself. You're just doing what you like, and the recognition that you get from these other like prominent figures within the environment are the ones that actually like recognize the great work you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel that it was my advisor. He was extremely motivating me and encouraging.
That's great.
And yeah, and I was doing whatever I kept doing whatever I liked, which was research and learning new stuff. And I didn't really notice the time go by or what was happening in the outside. So anyway, after that, after my graduation, I joined as a postdoctoral fellow at University of Texas, Austin, and that was during the pandemic. And it was funny because I ended up in a new job, and every day I go to work to the lab, and we had this kind of shift system. So there was a morning shift and an evening shift. And I was put in the evening cohort, which was like from 4 p.m. to like, I don't know, midnight. And I literally never met anyone from the group, from the research group in person until then. And I go to the evening shift, and I hardly see many people in the lab. And it was almost as if I did not meet a human soul, like maybe for weeks, because I used to live alone as well, and it was during the pandemic. It was horrible actually, but somehow I try to interact with everyone, all of my colleagues when we had those Zoom meetings weekly. And yeah, that was a very different experience to go through, like going to lab and there's not many people there, maybe not anyone to speak to and ask, because you're in a new job, you need some sort of training, and I'm doing a completely different project. So that was very challenging for me. But
So when did Phuc Labs come in? So that was basically UT Austin, right? So basically, let me summarize this. So you grew up wanting to be a superhero. You went and studied your ass off, got lucky, got some breaks, but also really good mentorship from people who gave you breaks. But also the American system, right, where you have a PhD that's waiting for you for the best and brightest across the globe, and you were the best and brightest, and we basically had a professor there mentor you, and now you're here at UT Austin, again from a recommendation that you go there, and then this COVID thing happens, and the lab's empty. So is that when you decided to go, hey, what's going on here? Maybe I should do something else, or
so actually, the project at UT is very, very interesting. I really wanted to work in that project, and yeah, I mean, it was not really the best timing, because I had gotten engaged, and my fiance was in Boston, and also, yeah, the pandemic and everything, and I felt like 1 year is more than enough. Like I should probably look for opportunities in Boston so that I can be with family. So that's when I started applying to jobs, and I saw the advertisement for Phuc Labs, and it really stood out from the rest of the job descriptions, and I'm like, okay, this technology is really interesting, and I was curious to know more about it. I applied, and I got the call back from you guys. So, and then yeah.
yeah, here we
Yeah.
are. Were we the only ones who actually talked to you, or did you talk to
I
other
did
folks?
have a couple of interviews, I mean, previously, but
Who else?
sorry.
like, like
Roberto,
who
he's
else? Who
just
else
curious.
was?
Roberto's nosy. He's like, who else did you date while
Exactly.
you
You
were
were
dating
dating
us?
us, and this is like, what? Wait a
No, this is
second.
He
before you
said,
Like,
guys gave me
it was
the
before you
response.
guys. It's okay.
you make Myra sound so bad, but she's applying for jobs, dude. She's applying for jobs, okay?
It's okay.
She's
We
not
don't
bad,
need to know.
okay? It's a job application. You applied for a couple jobs, but none of them hit off, right? Were they academic
They
jobs?
were
Were they
industry
like
jobs.
startups? And what made you want to like do startups? Because you were academic
Oh
the
yeah,
entire time.
so about startups. So when I was working for UT, I was actually working with a startup company that sort of spun out of the same research group. So we did this program called the NSF iCore, National Science Foundation Innovation Core. It's basically like a workshop where if you have like a startup idea, you create a team of an entrepreneurial lead, uh, a technical lead, and I think it's an iCore, yeah, iCore mentor, and then this workshop is mainly to help you learn how to develop a business model canvas, and also to learn how to talk to potential customers and sort of interview them and figure out what are the problems that affect them and how that would go into your business model canvas and how you would edit it based on what the actual needs in the market are. And you also would end up talking to investors and stuff like that. So I went through this sort of rigorous program, and I was the entrepreneurial lead in there, but we already had a business idea. This was actually sort of something that we had to do on the basis of for this funding that we received from NSF, called NSF PFI Award, and I had to go through this because I was the postdoc in that particular project, and I was up for it. I mean, it seemed very interesting. It was different. It was nothing really research or lab related. It was a totally new skill that I thought that I could develop, and so that's what we did. We were our product was these nanocomposite membranes that can that can function at high temperature fuel cell technology. So we were trying to approach fuel cell companies, as well as I even spoke to truck companies and data centers, and anywhere where you think that where they need like power supply, like in the transportation industry or
Yeah. Everything needs power.
industry. So I just wanted to speak to these people. I was speaking to so many random people, some cold calls or some cold emails, and you get like an appointment for the interview and everything. So I was speaking to a lot of people. I spoke to R&Ds as well from Toyota, General Motors, and I was trying to figure out what their issues were with developing a fuel cell car or truck and things like that. So I got to learn a lot, and I also discovered how difficult it is to create a business model and how it keeps changing based on what you learn from the market, the company, and the customers and their needs and wants. So I really appreciated the hard work and the effort that goes into creating a startup. It
Yeah.
was not just having a great idea. It was figuring out what is best for the customer and then catering to their needs. So yeah, so that was a great experience. And so when you talked about why I chose startups, I guess this NSF iCore workshop really changed my mind, and I had a new appreciation for startups, and I wanted to explore that area. I thought that that'll be the best environment for me.
That's amazing. I mean, you got bit by the
Yeah.
bug, entrepreneurial bug that everybody gets bit by, and sometimes you become a vampire, and in this case, you become an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and then you're attracted to other entrepreneurs like us, and then you apply for this job, and we hit it off, and you come join. Is it what you thought it was going to be?
No, actually. So
Like, like I didn't know how to tell you this, but this is my last
Well,
day,
so-
Phuc.
okay, so-
I didn't mean in that way. So when I thought that when I thought about this job, I thought I'd be working so much in the lab, like developing the materials for lithium capture and all that. But I noticed that I was doing a lot of testing instead of the prototype, and I knew that there was a lot more to be done before actually getting into the R&D, the hardcore R&D stuff. And I also realized that I need to work on improving my computer skills, like learn new skills like Python coding, and also right now fast AI. And I realized I'm behind on all of this because I'd been doing a lot of hardcore experimental research, and I didn't know what was going on in the other side, the computational world. And I think through this job I was able to kind of catch up on that and learn more about what's going on in the computational world, and I picking up some new skills. So yeah, that was
What do you
that
think?
was
What do you
an
think about the
element of
changes?
surprise for me. Sorry, what?
Yeah. So do you think that was a good
Definitely
surprise
a
or a
good
bad surprise?
surprise. I realized I was missing out on a lot, and yeah.
Like how big is this change that we're going through? I want to talk about this specifically, because in my career, I've never seen something so fundamentally important as the stuff that we're working on in terms of computer vision, AI, all the stuff we're working on. I feel like, okay, the way I can think about it is, you went to school, you took 10th grade geometry, you took 11th grade math, algebra, you took calculus, and then you stopped and you went to college. This is the 13th grade. This is the missing part of calculus. This is calculus part 2, right? And then now you know the part of calculus part 2, then all of a sudden, as an engineer, as a superhero, as a scientist, as an entrepreneur, you have this lightsaber, this new amazing technology. But it's not even technology, it's knowledge. It's not that hard,
Yeah,
right, Vada?
I've always loved to learn new things, and I just got the opportunity and a reason to learn something new. So
Yeah, but it wasn't easy. I had to pull a little bit of teeth, right? Because you took
yeah,
a while before you actually took out
I
Like,
was
the computer,
hesitant
because you're a
It
little
wasn't
bit
just like that.
intimidated.
step on uncharted waters, but once I got into it, I'm yeah, I'm so
It's
yeah.
so easy, isn't it? It's like so much easier than when I was coming out. When I was coming out, okay, I'll tell you what I had to experience. You had to hit play on a cassette tape, and it'll go like a fax machine, and that would load your program. And then when you wanted to save your program, you'd hit record on your tape cassette recorder, and it record the sound that the computer played back, and that's how you actually record it and save the program. And they had to learn all this fundamental knowledge. So I would say like it's like a pyramid of knowledge. And this pyramid of knowledge, we had to build all the bottom steps. And now you're benefiting from all the bottom steps. And now as a scientist, I say this is the fundamental difference between other sciences and computer science, is that when you start a lab experiment in chemistry, you don't start off from the last person's leftover lab results. You have to start fresh. You have to reproduce what they do and kind of continue where they left off. I can literally grab some code from GitHub or whatever open source environment and continue on the steps of giants. And now it's like saying I can go to Ollivander's wand shop, buy a wand, and now I can cast a spell. And all I have to do is learn the words. But Ollivander and all his knowledge and all the previous knowledge of how to build wands and how to build magic and how the spell books and all that has been written for you, you just have to learn it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And so that's great. So we're doing basically something that I also think is also very intriguing, which is we're basically combining chemistry with computer science. Let's talk more about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you view chemistry or any sort of experimental research is now different because of AI and the way you can automate so many of these techniques and also not waste time on doing way too many experiments. It's almost like the Edisonian method, like trial and error kind of. So you get this, you get to, I guess, smartly develop a more smart way of doing research, of planning your research, or to I think AI would be a means to save human effort as well as time in that
Time and resources. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think that'll be really interesting to see how AI would benefit us in the chemistry sector, because we see a lot in the computational area, and be it even transportation, like now we have self-driving cars. So what are the what kind of capabilities does it have in material science or developing new chemistry? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually bigger than that. I want to kind of like, so I want to tell you kind of the vision of what we're doing here, right? So the way I can see it before we came along, and here's the difference between us and other AI companies, other computer vision companies, other companies that do this. We're doing physics. I would say that I am an amateur physicist. I'm getting better, but I think I have an innate talent. I think just like computer science, I would say that I am very good at it. I would say I admit it, I think I might be a savant, because at the age of whatever, I won the computer science contest in the 4th grade for the entire city. And I taught myself how to code. I took 2 computer classes total ever. One because I could submit my company's business code, right? And the other because I wanted to meet the guy who taught the class. And so I think physics, there's something about it that I'm really good at, and I wish I had gone to physics, as a PhD like you. In another lifetime, I would have been really great, and I think in this lifetime I still might be great. I think the greatest contribution that I can do is, I think there's, in terms of magic, let's go back to science, right? And in terms of, like, I want to frame this. we're basically doing the third frontier of science in terms of the laws of the universe. We have matter, we have energy, and then we have information. It used to be conservation of energy and matter. That was basically everything, chemistry, physics, everything was based on. And now we know, based on some of my ideas, that perhaps information plays a role in the universe. And in fact, we're getting infinite new sources of information every day randomly from the prime numbers and from math and all these things and from God. You know? And so basically this information can be harnessed to create things and change our universe according to Maxwell, James Maxwell, the great physicist, Maxwell's demon. This is what our technology is based off. And we're basically doing more than that, right, in terms of chemistry. Let's keep moving down this path. This is where, you know, I think I'm contributing, like, we're contributing, right? So that's where all the greats, they contribute all these ideas. But what happens when you take AI into the equation is you put God's eye into the equation, right? So you can see God can tell you what to do. And that's what AI has been so far. That's what you're talking about. I can be informed about what to do. Tell me the DNA to create for something, for a protein I want to create. You know, that's AlphaFold, right? That's Google's technology. Tell me how to do this, predict this, whatever. Tell me how to do this. But those are just eyes and knowledge. What we're doing at Phuc Labs is we're giving God's hands. We're actually having hands move particles in fluids, in water. We're inventing hydrorobotics. Hydrorobotics means water and robots in water. And how can robots help with us doing things in water? And we're working on some private stuff, some secret IP, right, Varada? So I wanted to bring you on this show because this innovation that we just did literally came in July last year when I had the concept. And it's been evolving and evolving. You're actually in the frontier of science. Like, I believe that we are basically creating the next light bulb. But instead of lighting the world, we're cleaning all the water. We're extracting things from the water of value. We're recycling. We're basically healing Gaia, Mother Earth, with the things we're doing. I think we're on a mission. That's why you found me and I found you. You know, I think you're from India. I'm from Vietnam, and we came to America for some reason. We were accepted into this great nation. We had this opportunity, and then people mentored us. I got mentorship, you got mentorship, we got lucky breaks, we got this affirmative action. We shouldn't belong here, but yet we do. And why are we here? To do great things. And what great things? You said technology can change the world. I believe it. And what other technology than the third wing of magic? Information. And information can inform the hands of God, a vision valve, how to move particles, how to shift matter from A to B, reverse entropy, like Maxwell's demon, right? Change that the universe does not have to increase in entropy, meaning that the universe does not have to have the heat death of the universe. Have you heard of the heat death of the universe? You know what I'm talking about, right? You're talking about that's the second law of thermodynamics. Everything is going to die. Eventually, based on natural chemistry. Particles interact, things mix, things that are hot become cooler, 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 until it becomes totally cold, and the heat dissipates, and everything dies.
Fun.
That's not how the universe works, man. That's a sad existence if that's really how it happens. That's not how it happens. What happens is a human, a conscious being, an ant, God, something adds more information, adds more data, reverses entropy. That's what we do. That's God. That's us. We reverse entropy with information that we add to the universe, the third force of nature. We are spellcasters. We make magic happen by pushing a button, and all of a sudden the TV turns on. What's the difference between pushing that button and having that button do nothing, or having that button, I don't know, open your door for your car, or having that button set off a nuclear reaction and destroying the whole planet? Or why not the whole universe? The potential energy released by that single action is the same. No, it's not the same. It's different, right? No. Conservation of energy does not exist. The same input. My finger pushing that button is exactly the same. What's the only difference in terms of the input? As a scientist, right? The only difference in the input is the thought. Which button should I push in front of me? The one on the left, the one in the middle, or the one on the right? I know which one does what. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm randomly pushing buttons, and one of them is going to destroy the world. But if I have knowledge, if I have intent, if I can cast a spell, if I can ask God which button is the one that does this or whatever it is, right? God can help me with the knowledge, and then God can help me push my hands with that knowledge to the button that saves the world. That's what we're doing here. We're asking God, tell me where the poison is. Tell me where the gold is. Tell me where the silver is. Look in the camera. God says, look in the camera, man. I gave you the knowledge. I gave you the information. I gave you the spells. I gave you the wand. I gave you the broom. I gave you all the science. You call it magic, fine, but whatever. I call it science, right? I gave you all this science. I gave you all this math. I gave you this camera from an iPhone. I gave you this camera from your whatever down the street. That's like super cheap. I gave you this knowledge of how to see things in water. I gave it to you. You just have to take it.
And use it properly, though. I mean, I feel like the right tools in the wrong hands, they don't add up to anything.
And why do you think it was in our hands, Varada? What's the superhero that was meant to be in our hands?
Oh, yeah, I can see like you've never thought about this that way. Like, I was just doing my work. I'll see, but it's important work that nobody else could do.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me, Varada? Do you think that what we're working on is that important? In terms of like scientifically, I think what we're doing is chemistry-wise, we're participating in the reactions itself.
Sure, yeah. The end goal is the same, but the approach is very unique, I guess, what we're doing.
And then you're working on a secret project too, right? I can't
No.
say the project name. So I wanted you to have on the show specifically because I want to have like, you know how like Roberto, a year ago I said, I'm going to be like Babe Ruth. I'm going to point there and say I'm going to hit a home run. And it's so much better when you predict you're about to do something and you actually do it. So last year I had zero money in the bank. We were struggling. This year, we raised, I think 600,000, 700,000 already. Made it through a year, which is tough for a business. The first year of a business, you basically go out of business. That's just what happens. Everyone knows this. And then we made it. Not only did we make it, and we did 4 versions of our product. We hired amazing people like you. There's actually some other people who are going to come on the show later. We perfected the pilot that we had. We developed this technology to take gold and other mining materials out of water, and we have other contracts that we signed with battery recyclers, and basically we're in a situation where I've never been in before, where we don't have to sell anymore. We have enough business and people knocking down on our doors for the next 5
Which is
to 10
awesome.
years.
Because man, I think that people are starting to understand finally what, like, to grasp what it is that we're doing here, and it's how could you not want to fund this? Like it's crazy to me that we actually at the beginning we were like, oh, but we have to like come up with and present this. Like, what this is like? You need this. Like, even in like whoever is there sitting in the room looking at this presentation, like, you need this to keep on living. So like, why am I trying to like negotiate with you or like to try to like sell you up on this thing that is for your own like prevailing and your own future? And right now it's sinking in.
But the thing is, you're right, Roberto. We haven't been selling anymore. Like literally, like the doors just open. Like we go to a meeting, we LinkedIn somebody, and we say, "Hey, this is what we want to do." And just like Varada, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this.
Give me
before.
10.
And then we go on a date, and then we get married like the next week. That's been happening. I think I've never done that before. And these are huge companies, multi-billion-dollar operations. People want a piece of the action when you have something good. But when you have this feeling, right? Imagine the opposite of this feeling, and that's how I was feeling in July. In August, when I was telling my mom, I was telling Sherry, And then midnight, even midnight, at some points he didn't think that, some of it, he was kind of, yeah, I knew this was going to always, he wasn't always going
Like
to,
everybody
he knew
can
it was
say
gonna work.
like, oh yeah, I knew it was gonna
Business-wise,
work.
he
Like
didn't know it
right
was
now
going to
though.
work. He knew the tech
Yeah.
would work. I knew I could cast a spell, right? But I didn't know that people would know that was magic, or believe that that was magic and it was true. Because when you saw this happen the first time, Varada, right? When you saw the machine turn on in the lab, can you tell me that feeling? Because I had that feeling. Did you have that feeling too?
I mean, when I saw what it was doing, I was, so it was something that I didn't expect. It was really fascinating, and I felt like a little kid looking at the computer and looking at the inferences, and I actually see the same thing when we do our demos and speak to investors and we show them these videos. I see the same childlike, fascination that I once had looking at technology.
But now it's just it's just a spell
Yeah,
that
no,
you
it's
cast every
business
day.
as
Like, this is the
usual.
broom. Like, it's not the iPhone you just check your email with, right?
It's like, oh yeah, it does that. It just cleans the water. Over here, come. I'll show you the coffee machine.
It sounds like my wife. My wife's like, hey, he's just the one who helps me with my kids. Puts a roof over my house, and so I know exactly what I think. But Butter, you're working on something, right? That now is in that mode, right? Like, well, okay, we don't know if this is gonna work. I had this crazy moment like a month ago. Tell me the
You
resistance.
can't talk about it.
No, tell me the resistance, even within my own company, about the idea.
So I think the main resistance for this idea was just the budget, and I think we were focusing on getting our lab prototype to work better, and focus on the improving the performance, and focusing on all of the clients that we have right now, and trying to fulfill their requirements. So I guess that's what the diversion and focus was, one thing that the rest of the team was probably worried about mostly. But this is definitely a necessary project, and it's necessary to start right now, because solubles is something that our clients are gonna it's one of the problems that they face, and it's one of the problems they need solution to. So if we start working now, maybe by next year or the year after that, we'd be able to show them that we can solve that too.
I love how you're so scientific and reserved, and you balance me so much with your answer. And that's exactly why I hired people like you, and to control me, because I am a bubble of ideas, and you're absolutely right. I think that's I think my greatest strength is I like to listen to smart people, and I think I think I evolve, I change, I'm very coachable, and I think that's the humility you need to.
It was a process, though. Let's like.
Yeah, but you also have to also be bold, and you have to have a balance, and you have to create culture where you can be bold, put a stake in the ground, say this is a good idea, let's keep an eye on it, right? Let's go back to it when we have time. Let's keep going back to it. But this is gonna be the next great one. It's like when you invest in like a draft pick, like let's say for football or someone like you, right? This is the one. Let's keep an eye on her career. Like she's gonna do these great things. You know what I'm saying? And so like when you have germs of these ideas, most people fear it. People are like, oh, this is very distracting. This is something that you shouldn't think about. But actually, I completely disagree. And here's why I disagree, right? So you've been here for close to 7 months.
Yeah.
Did you think that we were lazy people at the beginning? You thought we were like lazy. Our schedule was so loose. There's no structure. There's no like to-dos. Folks just hanging out and doing random shit. And then you wake up 7 months later and like you look up like, holy shit, a lot of stuff got done. Did you notice that?
I figured that software people work differently. Yeah.
But that's not how software people do it. See, the thing about it is like, you can do that if you get good like me, right? It's kind of like, okay, Tom Brady, he doesn't go to practice anymore. He's just, he's just done this for a long time. He's thrown the football for like 20 years. I've thrown the football for 20 years in terms of like coding shit, like building stuff, building really high quality products. For me, it's just like that's something called specific knowledge, where you're just taking that same playbook that you've done for 20 years and you're just copying to this new company. So it looks lazy, but it's not. It's actually, I worked freaking hard for a long time to get to this level of skill. It's like you cast a single spell, you go, well, that single spell took 2 seconds to do, so he only took 2 seconds of work. No. That spell took like billions of hours of practice, learning the craft, and then I took 2 seconds to cast a spell, so what? I made it look easy, okay? But that's what the magic is. If you make it look easy, that means you have your organization put together. You can copy, paste from previous knowledge. You can create really good people opportunities where they want to come work for you, and then enable you, obviously let you deal with the culture shock of being loosey-goosey from a structured environment. Maybe lab was structured, but also a different way, loosey-goosey in different ways, but it's completely culture shock, so I have to kind of ease you into it. And now you're locking it, and now you're about to invent the next great thing.
Coming up.
And I know it's the next great thing. You know it too. You're being humble right now. I really think this is going to be the next great thing. Here's how I know, right? My roommate, one of the smartest people I know, he's going to help us make Paris. He's a genius. And so are the people who work with us on the advisory committee, Rick, Tom, Kenny, you, me. We're building a mission to do something I think would change all of chemistry. I really believe, emphatically, that there are some battles that I have to put my foot down and say, this is it. This is the next big idea, and this is going to change all of chemistry. And I really think it will. And I think it's going to help the environment. People are going to look back and say, wow, you were part of this. And this is the feeling that you had before. It's no big deal. And then after that, you're like, okay, this is a company now. We make, whatever. We're about to raise a lot of money right now. You know that from the last idea? We're about to make a big impact in just 1 year. And you're going to do that same thing this year, in 2022. So I want you back on this show as these things progress. I want you to announce it. I want this to be the prequel.
Ooh.
I want this to be the founding story of you and how you invent this thing with us, with me. We do this together.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And how we're gonna rock it, and how, because okay. So I asked you what superhero you wanted to be. What character would you like to be in terms of I'm Iron Man. Okay, I'm Iron Man. I tell my kids, can you be the Hulk? Let me ask you, can you be the Hulk better? No, you can't, right?
No.
Can you be Superman?
I don't think so, no.
No. Can you be Batman? Probably, if you inherit a lot of money and spent it on
Your parents
science
die.
and stuff. Or you can just work your ass off, become really smart, and maybe become like an organically grown, not the origin story of Iron Man. He's also rich, right, obviously, but he's a scientist, and he invented a bunch of stuff that made himself into a superhero, and he's a star of the Avengers.
Yeah.
But he died at the end. I'm not gonna die, man.
He sacrificed himself at the end.
worth it.
Yeah.
It's different. He does die. I mean, but it has a purpose.
Well, that means he had a bad plan. I have good plans where I live and I win the day. I'm Genghis Khan, okay? I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to conquer the thing, but I'm going to give it back. Because what I really want is I want to start the new era of humanity. And genius is everywhere. Genius is equal. I think the opportunity is not. You are one of them. You're one of the geniuses you brought to America. Now you're working on cool science. Do you regret joining us? Do you think other people should join us? Any messages for the STEM girls and guys and future youth? You're so inspirational. I just want to give you some airtime.
I would just say that, do what you like doing and just keep doing it. And I guess you'll end up where you're supposed to be. Yeah. I mean, just follow your passion.
Yeah, wise words.
And don't be so worried
just follow your
about,
passion. Just say yes, right?
What is the outcome, I guess.
Yeah. And this adventure we're about to go on, it's going to be great. But, we have 10 minutes left. But I want to talk about some stuff that we talk about at the lab all the time.
Yeah.
I always like to save my last 10 minutes for the rooms.
Okay, I know, I know where this is
He's like,
going.
I like this, but you got the woo.
But wait, look, before we
it
get
has
into it, like
nothing.
Varada touched on something very important that it's the reason why I hate chemistry. Like it's because I had a horrible teacher, a horrible mentor when I was in high school. That guy ruined chemistry for a bunch of us, and it makes a huge difference to have somebody really like take the time to explain things in the proper way and to actually like be like, come on, let's like to transmit a passion that you have onto like the next ones coming up, which is something that didn't happen to me in animation. I had this guy called Eric Goulet, which is an amazing stop motion artist, and he taught all of us how to love his craft, and it made a huge difference in the future of anybody. So like something about the people there following their passion, it's like don't get squashed by these like random people who hate what they're doing every day, and it's really like stick around with the mentor that will get you further and that really wants you to succeed, because not only he loves you, he loves your passion and he loves what he's already doing, and if you can add on to that, he will definitely, or he or she will definitely like take you way further than you could have ever gone. So the mentorship is a very important part here.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we can talk about you. So I wanted to get that.
No, actually, mentorship. That's why I think I wanted to hire you, and I wanted to hire Fat. We're gonna have Fat on the show here. He's got the best name, Fat, by the way. PHAT. You got an awesome name, by the way, as well. We only hire people with cool names here. And like I feel like it's a blacksmith apprenticeship model. Like I am the master blacksmith. I'm gonna teach you guys how to make iron or steel or armor or whatever we need to make. But my job is to guide you, to enable you, to teach you, and to give you the opportunity to excel. And you've done that, and we will continue to do that. But also, I want to also give credit to people who inspired me this year. Like I want the last 10 minutes to be woo-woo stuff, but it's woo-woo stuff that other people are working on, not us. Right?
Get ready.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about is, I want eventually, if I do make it rich, to give something like the Phuc Prize. And this is my unofficial Phuc Prize for this year. For people that we would talk about in the lab, who inspire us, who inspire me every day to wake up and look at the science and like, oh my God, wow. So let's talk about cutting edge stuff that we talk about in the lab that no one knows about, or very few people talk about. Okay, so I'm gonna have you pick, because I sold you on all these ideas. Okay, I'm gonna have you pick your list, and I'm gonna describe why I think it's a huge idea. Because you're my guest, and we're gonna make this interactive. Because you're a scientist, you have a PhD from LSU, you did a fellowship at UT Austin, you're a master at lithium membranes and other chemical reactions. You're a genius. But in terms of other geniuses I told you about this year, in terms of other ideas I found that are amazing, which ones blow your mind the most? What's the number one draft pick?
I think the one that you spoke several times about, and it was really interesting, the Project Galileo one. Even yesterday you were talking about it. Yeah.
Okay. So I went to the one that I wanted to talk about the most.
Like the one I already talked about
Roberto.
the most.
So UFOs. We ended the last conversation with
We
Aaron
did.
about UFOs and the Galileo project.
Oh, right.
Why do you find the Galileo project inspiring?
I just think that the founder, the scientist who's behind it, how much conviction he started that project, and it's like he wants the whole world to know the truth, and he's just working towards that, and I think that's really inspiring.
Who is Galileo? Like, why does he name it the Galileo project? Can you give me the background of like what the Galileo project is about? Why did he name it Galileo project in the first place?
I don't know. I think you should talk about it.
It's a quiz. Okay. This was the whole thing, the whole interview, just to quiz you. On you.
No, because I thought you knew. I thought I always wanted to give you the platform. I was giving you a layup. Come on, I was giving you a layup. I thought you knew Galileo. Why he's famous?
No, I
thought
don't know why
okay.
he named it Galileo project. Maybe you should tell me that.
Okay. All right, so here's the history of Galileo. Imagine a long time ago where the Roman Church was the most powerful platform, bigger than governments. And someone goes and said, God told, I could see through this microscope, I see this device I just created. You can look through it if you want. But I believe that we're not the center of the universe, and that all the stuff you're saying is all wrong. I have evidence right here. Just look right here, man. And the moment someone looked in there, they didn't want to look anymore. Because it dispelled their entire belief system. Everything they knew was wrong. It's clearly right in front of them. It's the allegory of the cave. You know Socrates, the allegory of the cave? You guys have ever heard of that? Well, allegory of the cave, Socrates is a philosopher, a famous philosopher. Everyone knows Socrates from a long time ago, ancient Greece. And he had an allegory. He's like, imagine a cave. Everything's completely dark. And people live in this cave in misery. And one day, this person finds an opening to the cave and sees, oh my God, there's a forest, there's like trees, there's like the sun, and there's light out here. And they discover essentially what Galileo discovered. They discovered that there's a telescope, and this telescope can tell me that I can see the stars and the moon and all that stuff, and there's actually planets and all that stuff that exists. There's stuff that we don't understand. Let's try to discover this light. Let's go outside this cave. Let's go out this door. So Galileo comes back, this allegory of the cave, the person comes back, and guess what happens to the person? He says, hey, this great stuff is here. Why don't you come with me? Let's go see it. And what happens is they stone him to death.
Yep.
They say, you're a liar. You're disrupting the system. Shut up, man. And Galileo was punished by imprisonment, house arrest for the rest of his life, and he invented new theories, wrote more books, and now he's alive forever through science, and he's right, and everyone who persecuted him is dead and wrong.
Well, the church still kind of exists, though.
Yeah, but that was a black eye, of many black eyes. And now the church is irrelevant. The church doesn't realize, and now they realize it, that every time they have these things, for example, hiding that aliens exist, for example, they know, right? They're preparing us by, changing the laws. If you look at the Roman Catholic Church in the last year or two, or a couple of years, they've been saying, hey, if aliens did exist, then God's still real. You see their PR battle, right? That's happening right now. But anyway, let's not go about too but that's the idea. The idea is like Galileo project of today is, why do these scientists refuse to even look? Right? There's a telescope right there. Look, man.
Yeah.
And that's what Avi Loeb is doing. He's like, look, man, I'm going to make these telescopes. I'm going to take these high-resolution photos. I'm going to make this outside the government. I'm going to make this open source. I'm going to publish it in a year. I got $2 million of people giving me money because I went on a podcast. I had an awesome idea like I did last year. I asked some random people for money. They thought it was great. They gave it to him. And now he's going to find aliens. He's Galileo. But he has friends. Just like I had friends with you. His friends are Christopher Mellon and Lou Alexandros, the Who heroes of the UFO community. Those guys are the ones who blew the top off the top because they saw the videos. They were government people who saw the secret videos. They know where it is. They know where to point the telescope. Hey, Galileo, point over there, man.
You'll see some crazy shit.
I've seen crazy shit. I know it's there.
Yeah. Just
I know the
that
evidence
way.
is there.
Okay.
Look that way,
I'm not
man.
saying anything else. Just like check over there.
So in the next year, 2022, number one draft pick, you're absolutely right. I think that's the biggest impact for science.
Yeah, just my opinion. I don't think the scientists are not looking at the proof. It's just that they probably don't want to give out a statement without.
No, I call people out. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Repeat that. Sorry.
Right?
I didn't.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'll
Okay.
call him out. People like him.
'Cause he's funny.
Ignorant scientists who do not follow the scientific method. And they poo-poo Galileo. Like, they poo-poo Avi Loeb. There's also Avi Loeb. Look at Avi Loeb, all his enemies in the scientific community. Look at how it got poo-pooed by everyone. And guess, I'll name someone else. The SETI project, the project that's looking for alien life through radio signals, they're bad guys too. They should be looking. That's their job.
Maybe they have been and they just didn't know.
No, they poo-poo it too. That's not true, blah, blah, blah.
Damn, like have all these like
Look at
gatekeepers
the
of
evidence of
information.
how they
which are-
behave. Just look at the evidence of their actual statements. The scientific community is like the Roman Catholic Church. It's a religion.
It is, man. Like, and you have like these people that are the gatekeepers of information, and man, I can't remember the name of this. Well, this scientist that went on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about like how all of his ideas got knocked down just because it was him presenting them, and he wasn't part of their little like club.
The head of innovation at MIT at one point, one of the not all of them. Actually, MIT is actually very supportive. They're actually helping us a lot. She's supposed to be head of innovation. I won't tell what her name is. She thought our idea was not very good either. She's wrong. I know she's wrong. We've proven it. And she's head of innovation for a very important department at MIT. Not just MIT, but the government. We applied for 2 grants. They both grants got rejected.
Damn. Yeah.
Right? People who should invest in us didn't invest in us. I'm telling you, that's not how the world works, man. Galileo, Allegory of the Cave, that exists today. People are casting stones right now at me, at Avi Loeb, at other scientists, and this is what the Phuc Prize is about. Defending those people. Avi Loeb, you're the man. Okay, number 2, what's next? Let's do top 3. We have limited time, but I want to acknowledge these people, right? He's a maverick. He's my hero. So is Christopher Mellon, Louis Alexander. What other heroes do you have, Varada, this year? What's the second biggest idea that I mentioned that like you can't get your mind off of?
I can't remember any. We've talked about so many theories. I don't remember.
Okay, I want to acknowledge someone that actually should have been acknowledged even more. He's already been acknowledged a lot. I want to acknowledge Michael Levin at Tufts. Michael Levin is one of the greatest scientists of our era. He is going to be the single person who saves all our lives and makes us live forever. Him, right, and David Sinclair. Those two together win 2 and 3. I think they're tied. I think they're tied with 2. David Sinclair, I've been taking his medications that he's been not recommending, but he's been taking. And I'll tell you the audience of the weight loss I've had. So I used to have gray hair a lot more, and now the gray hair went away. I was 185, and now I'm 159. I have way more muscles. I went back to my college.
You lost like 30 pounds?
I look fantastic.
Damn.
Yeah. And because of basically the innovation is that our body is a computer. Our body is programmable. Our body has pathways that are natural. And the way the body works is actually like a computer, in that the voltage of your organs are the same, and that's your network connection between the cells in your heart. That's Michael Levin's work. Michael Levin has discovered and has actively been able to basically create whole organs like hearts, eyes, arms, whatever you want, by initiating a subroutine in your body through the use of voltage. Meaning the Frankenstein story is true. Frankenstein can shock using lightning some dead body and have it do something. But in this case, what Michael Levin does, he would shock a live cell, like the skin, let's say, of a frog, and he would actually make it into something else. Instead of a piece of skin, it would be an arm, it would be an eyeball, it would be anything you want based on the voltage. Because the voltage is the way you can call the program. And in fact, your entire heart should be using the same voltage. If not, that means that's cancerous. So there's cancerous cells under a microscope. You can see the voltage change You can see his experiments in real life. You Google it. He's already done a TED Talk. No one really knows. I discovered it this year. Michael Levin basically discovered that your body can be programmed like a subroutine, and David Sinclair also confirmed it. Many scientists have confirmed it with pathways called sirtuin pathways. So sirtuin pathways is essentially your aging program. So they discovered this in yeast, where the yeast is the most simple creature that you can experiment on. And with yeast, they can age and unage yeast arbitrarily
Huh.
based on these pathways. Okay? And David Sinclair and all his great cohorts, they've discovered that you just need 3 things to live forever. It's truly the fountain of youth, and you can see it through me. Okay? He's taking it himself. He's 50-something years old. He's a Harvard professor. He's down the street from me. But his biological age is 30-something. There's a new biological test you can take that would test your DNA and actually tell you how old you are DNA-wise. His DNA is in the 30s. He's 50-something. His dad is taking it too. I've been taking it. My wife's been taking it, and other people have been taking it. I'm not a doctor, but I also ran a clinical research company. I'm
Yeah,
the CEO of a
definitely.
clinical research company. So
I mean, like, if you're testing on yourself, I mean, it works. It works. Like, it is what it is. Works for
But
you?
you just need 3 things. Okay, I'm gonna pip it out, right? Think of your body as a machine. If your car runs too hot or your car runs too cold, right? You have antifreeze
Yeah,
for a reason,
yeah.
right? That's called glucose. If your sugar's too high, sugar's too low, your body's gonna be overheated or underheated. So take metformin. Metformin is something you get from your doctor. Just say, hey, I need metformin for this supplement. It's 5 cents a pill. Doesn't cost much. It's literally like almost free. And that literally will make you lose 5 pounds immediately, if not more. And also make your glucose much more even, make you more insulin sensitive, and literally make your car run more even. Your machine. So basically, it's like the fan in your computer. You need to put a fan in your computer. Make it, okay, that's number 1. But before that, actually 0. Okay, step 0 is actually to stop eating breakfast. Period. Okay. The pyramid, the food pyramid is a lie. It's made by industry to sell wheat and other products that they want to commercialize. But ultimately, the breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. It's the most dangerous meal of the day. Because what it does is it stops you from running your natural programs. After 12 hours of not eating, your two sirtuins will just start kicking in. Your program will start. Think about your hard drive. Your hard drive at night will defrag if you let it defrag. Right? And that's what happens if you don't eat. So if you eat breakfast, let's say you eat dinner 7, you eat breakfast, that's 12 hours. You might eat around 6, 5, 8, give or take. But the program's not going to run very long, if at all. Let's say you skip breakfast, you don't eat breakfast, and just by that alone, you eat lunch instead. You go from 7, let's say you eat dinner 7 p.m., and you eat lunch around, let's say, 12. That's 5 hours. That's 5 hours. It's not bad. Well, 12, is that right? Something like that. But what if you ate lunch at 2? That's 7 hours where your program is running. You defrag, your hard drive's defragging. And what's happening is it's burning all your fat, it's converting to muscle, it's increasing your metabolism, it's helping your body run its natural maintenance. Okay? And you have to not eat breakfast, period. And if you can skip lunch once or twice a week, that becomes an intermittent fast. It sounds freaking hard. That just means you skip breakfast, you skip lunch, it's a 24-hour fast. Oh my God. I can do that twice a week. I skip lunch twice a week, and all of a sudden, I can live 10 to 20 years longer. This is a fact.
But what happens if you work out, though?
This is a fact.
And again, if I don't have, I used to go like to the gym in the mornings with like before my breakfast, but after at the gym, like I was about to pass out. Like I need to eat something.
And that's where NNM comes in. So you need to buy 2 non-prescription supplements. They're not free. They're about $1 per dose. Basically $1 per gram. And you need basically $2 a day worth. $1 of resveratrol, $1 of NNM. And I'll tell you why. Energy. The question is energy. Well, you ever go to those cruise ships and they offer you like an NAD drip the day after for a hangover? You're just going to party all night on the cruise ship? It's called an NAD drip. NAD drip. N, the letter N, AD drip. And actually, if you get COVID right now, you go to the hospital, they will also give you an NAD drip. Because NAD is a very important part of your body. It actually brings oxygen to your body. It gives you energy. It's the power system for your body. And you naturally make NAD, but the way you make it, you consume certain stuff, and you consume something like NR and NM. So NNM is a natural root that just someone takes a root, powder, makes it into a powder, and you take 1 gram of it a day, and literally your energy levels will go back to when you were young. Because your energy levels when you're young is level 10, and then as you get older, like me, you can get to level 2 or 3. And the reason why, because your body has what's called senescent cells. So senescent cells are cells that age, and basically they say, hey, don't feed me anymore. And they secrete something called CD38. They say, don't feed me anymore. And your body would naturally don't feed you, and then the energy level goes down. And that's what part of the reason, that's why we get weaker, we have less energy. But if you take NNM, which I have been with some resveratrol. So resveratrol is just literally just the grape skin crushed into a powder, or a mushroom that's in Japan. But literally the reason why is because these plants are stressed. The best grapes are stressed because they don't have enough water. They've been arid. The best grapes, if you don't know, are actually stressed plants. And the stress of the plants reproduce the stress of you running a marathon, of you jumping into cold water like the Polish and Russians do, of you having a sauna and doing all these things that turn on your program to repair your body, to turn on your Wolverine gene. You know Wolverine from Marvel, the Avengers?
He's not an Avenger.
He heals himself. Your body actually heals yourself. You actually can heal yourself with basically, resveratrol is the program, but you need the energy from NNM. And those two together, put the resveratrol into something fatty, like yogurt. And the reason why is the resveratrol is not soluble, meaning it won't dissolve into water. So you're going to have to put it into something fatty, and it'll be 5 to 10 times more effective. Right? And literally in the morning, I take a small thing of yogurt, Chobani, whatever, right? I put 2 small spoons, or basically a gram, like basically a tablespoon of NNM, a tablespoon of the other stuff, the resveratrol. I mix it up my yogurt, eat the yogurt, I drink my pill. I also do mushrooms. Right? Regular mushrooms, not like mushrooms like shrooms, right? Not like good mushrooms, like
that's a good way to start your day.
That you read about mushrooms is true.
Have like a chill bus drive to work.
So Western medicine, they don't value herbal medicine, but the Asians, the Hindus, everyone values the value of mushrooms. Mushroom soup, mushrooms this, but fungi are actually our best friends. And they'll help us with our immune system, with preventing Alzheimer's, cancer, all that stuff. And between those 4 things, that's all I do. I don't run. I don't do cardio. I play tennis every once in a while. I do a lot of walking. I do a lot of thinking. But literally, look at me. Like I'm freaking awesome looking compared to before. Maybe not compared to Brad Pitt, but just compared to before. I look pretty good. And I think that's number 2 for me. So I would say number 2 and 3 would be those guys, Michael Levin and David Sinclair. Amazing work. I definitely would suggest you check them out. But it basically shows, again, my theme, the third wing of magic.
For sure. And if anybody wants all this stuff we talked about, like, it's there, it's recorded, but if not, email us.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough science talk, and I think there may be another one, but it looks like Varada has no more ideas. I have other ideas, but I'm going to get your ears off. But I think those are three greatest scientists this year. I'll save the other one for next year. I have one more, but I don't want to talk about that right now because I don't have enough time. But also, I want to spend more time on that one because that one's big. That one's big. Okay, but that's not us. That's other people. But I'm very inspired by you, Varada. I'm inspired by all these other scientists. Thank you for spending your holiday. It's December 23rd. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Holidays. You too.
How was the show? Wasn't too bad, right?
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here.
Kind of nervous.
Yeah, it was fun.
You want to say anything to the audience?
Well, I hope you enjoy the conversation that we had, and I hope I was able to contribute something useful. And that's it.
For sure. And if anybody needs to know some extra information or wants anything else, let us know in the comments if you think you missed anything or that you can add on to this.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's obviously working for Phuc Labs. You can check her out on LinkedIn and our website and all that. And did you ever say the superhero that you wanted to be in terms of did you get a chance to think about that yet, or you want to save that for next time?
Let's save it for next time.
I'm Iron Man. Who are you in terms of the characters?
From Marvel or DC, you mean?
I like Marvel better.
I like Marvel better too.
Dude, you've been sold more on Marvel, which is different. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's
You want to
awesome.
be Doctor Strange? So you be Doctor Strange. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, anyway, guys, thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We'll be back after the New Year's. Thank you,
Thank you,
Roberto.
guys. It's
Amazing,
awesome.
like always.
Thank you.
And we'll bring more amazing guests and superheroes like you on for the next year. Thank you, Fooksters, and
Take
happy
care.
holidays.
Nice. Bye.
Bye.